Sorry about that, guys. It took me about 2 hours to set this one up, but I think we're rolling now, so we're good to go.
Good.
Yeah. Today I am here with one of my good buddies, Russ.
Hello.
He was actually the first guy that I've ever met that I knew had prior experience to competing and participating in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Did you want to share a little bit of your background with jiu-jitsu?
Sure. Okay, so I think when I first found out about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was watching one of the first UFCs with Royce Gracie. You know, he goes in there and beats everybody up, and, you know, it's like, okay, got to learn that. And then I started training. This is probably late 98 or 99, and got really into it. Back then, it wasn't nearly as popular. There wasn't as many schools to do it in. I used to do it at a karate school. They had like a grappling night, and then a kung fu school that had a grappling night. Or actually, one of the classes it was 2 nights, or one of the schools it was 2 nights a week, and then one had 1 night a week. And I did that for about 3 years, and then I was going to school, and 9/11 happened, and so I joined the military. I joined the Army because of that. And
you did it. You joined the military for heroic reasons, correct?
I wouldn't say heroic. I'd say...
But you wanted to go out there and you wanted to kick some terrorist ass.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was definitely in direct response to 9/11.
I see. Okay.
I kind of wanted to join the military before. I was planning on doing it maybe a someday kind of thing, going to college. But once 9/11 happened, I was like, all right, well, so I sped it up, and I went in pretty soon after. I waited a little bit to see if it would be a short thing like Desert Storm was, and when I realized it wasn't, I went ahead and enlisted. And then it was really kind of a luck thing there, because the Army had just switched over to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the Gracie system, as their primary combatives system, they call it, combatives, or modern Army combatives. And so I was really lucky in that way, because I already had about 3 years of experience in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I was already ahead of the curve, going to basic training, things like that. Then I trained throughout the Army. I used to like kind of tutor guys and stuff like that. We used to have big mats at our battalion headquarters, like the office. And so we used to practice a lot. I got certified as a combatives instructor. And then I also competed in the All Army, the very first one, which was in 2006. It was 2005. Was the first MAC tournament, and I got to go down to Fort Benning, which is where I went to basics. So it was kind of a cool full circle kind of thing. And I totally lost. I could make excuses about how we didn't have a lot of time to train beforehand and stuff like that, but I got beat. So what? You know, who cares? I mean, if you have ego, you're not going to go far in jiu-jitsu, I don't think. Or it's going to get taken out of you one way or another. So you might as well get rid of it, you know?
And then we're also here with my buddy Manuel, who, if it wasn't for Manuel, I doubt I would even be doing jiu-jitsu at this moment in time, because he's the one that found our gym online.
No, he found it.
Oh.
No, I didn't find it.
Amy found it.
Let's not argue.
No, that's what it was. My wife. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Well, to wrap up real quick with the other thing, how I got to here now with jiu-jitsu, I still did it in the military and in the reserve, and then I actually stopped for a long time. I had about a 5-year break. So that's when it kind of segues into starting with you guys, because I hadn't been going for a long time. That's kind of an important part to the story, because I was really out of practice, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, actually, my wife Amy knows Joey, and didn't know that Jason, she also knew Jason, but didn't know that Jason taught at Alchemy.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
Joey,
because you were explaining to jiu-jitsu to me
right
here, and we were like, I was kind of getting into it, and then you came around and say, "Hey, I found this one place, so you know, when we do it, we should go here."
Right.
Yeah. And just so people know who we're talking about, Joey is one of our previous brown belt instructors, and Jason is one of our purple belt instructors.
Awesome dudes.
Yeah, wonderful time. Do you remember, I was going to ask you, do you remember that one time that, because I've been wanting to do jiu-jitsu probably since 2012 when I first found out about it. When I first heard about it from Rogan, actually, I've been wanting to do it. And I just never took the initiative to find a gym or anything. That's why I appreciated you two coming along.
Making that first step is kind of hard, especially walking into a new place.
Oh,
that's not easy to do. Even I had a lot of experience in it, and still going into a new place, it's definitely it's hard to explain. You got to takes a while to warm up.
It's like it's the same like nerves you get like going to a new gym or something.
Right.
Starting anything is difficult
for sure.
But I did find like every single place in Denver and like the Denver area. Like I have the whole list. Like I know where they all are. who teaches them all, and it's like just because of that initial research phase.
And it was awesome when we first started because it was usually just the three of us white belts and then Joey and Jason, purple belt and a brown belt.
We went during the lunch hour where
right.
no one was like going.
No one was going to that, and so we got a lot of good time logged in, a lot of good practice with them for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I wanted to see if you remember, Russ, that one Ilphonic party we had.
Yeah, I remember. I totally remember. I wasn't gonna bring it up.
Oh yeah, I just when you work in video games, I forgot we weren't gonna mention. They're gonna find out eventually anyway where we work, but when you work in video games and you finally get a break, video game developers party pretty hard.
Oh, for sure. Like after a crunch and things like that, it's definitely work hard, play hard for sure.
Yeah. And there was this one night where we just had another Ilphonic party. I don't know how many people showed up, a bunch, too many for the office, I'm sure. I was drunk and I was trying to impress a girl and who actually turned out to be a lesbian.
Nice.
And
I'm sure she was impressed.
And Russ was, and I don't know how, I mean, no one knows how it happens, but just every party, there's always this magic moment where one dude comes up to another dude and is like, "Hey, let's roll around." It's not
exactly how that goes.
We know how that happens. That's not a mystery. We know how that happens.
It's like drunken wrestling, dude. I mean, that's definitely just a thing, you know? I mean, like, it just kind of happens spontaneously. And as long as you got good-natured people that don't give a shit, you know, it's like, I mean, shit happens, you know?
It really does happen. It's just a magical moment. And what's funny is this girl that I'm talking about that I was trying to impress actually asked me later that night, "Why do boys do that?" I don't know. It just happens.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We didn't get a manual of like reasons like, oh, that's a 358. Yeah, it's because we're awesome. See there? See that shit? Yeah.
But you don't see a lot of girls doing that.
They do it in secret. It's the pillow fights.
I know. That's what I'm thinking it is.
Yeah.
Well, not to say all guys are the same or not all girls are the same, but I think that maybe it's just something that's kind of hardwired into us. You know,
testosterone too. Yeah.
Testosterone, and also just like I'm trying to think of the word. Like, there's a lot of different like animals in nature that, like, you know, the whole group dynamic and like the whole the play fighting. I mean, it's in lots of animals. It's not strange. It's probably something that's hard coded from our caveman days, I imagine.
Mm-hmm. That's got to be the answer, right? No, for sure.
Just guessing.
No, I mean, I feel like I'm dipping into my deep gene pool, skinny dipping into my deep gene pool the second that I touch a man.
Oh, go on.
Oh, I didn't know it was gonna be this kind of party.
It always is.
No, but I truly feel that and that's why I wanted to talk about jiu-jitsu on this podcast, is because on this particular episode is because it is a major bonding experience, although it's not necessarily considered a team sport because it is just an individual going out there. I do consider it a team sport because the story I wanted to start with is the tournament that I had this weekend. And it's not just this tournament, but any tournament really. I'm not going to be able to do anything on the mat by myself. I mean, I might be able to win a match or two, but I'm not going to be able to get to the point where what I did this weekend was pretty impressive to myself. And I don't think I would have gotten there had coach not been there yelling at me and telling me what moves to do, along with the support of my girlfriend. My girlfriend being there was a major support because she just got me water or comforted me. And it's weird.
Support structure is a huge thing. And I don't think you necessarily have to be like a team sport, like say basketball or football or rugby or something. I don't think necessarily has to be everybody playing at once. I mean, because the amount of training you do, the amount of basically simulation in the case of like tournaments, you know, I mean, all the randori you do, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you're going to be going full tilt in a tournament, but I mean, it's, of course it's not something you do alone. I mean, you might be out there by yourself on that one instance, but that's it. But like you say too, you had Coach Jason, hey, you know, do this, do that, you know, it's,
all your training partners.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, congratulations.
Yeah.
He's being all humble.
Thanks,
he totally won his weight class. So that not just impressive to
Shit.
yourself, it's impressive to everybody, man. Like, we're super proud of you. Fucking
Thanks,
Noodles,
man.
dude.
Yeah.
That's his nickname is Noodles, by the way, at the gym.
And I mean, it's good support for the school because it is kind of a small school, although we're growing now. And it's just a good time. Although I will admit, the 2 months leading up to it is very, very stressful, at least for me. And maybe it's because I have a competitive background with high school wrestling and high school football. But I'm not the type of person that wants to go out there and just have fun. I'm the type of person that wants to take home a medal. No matter how much I want to be that type of person that's very zen and controlled and relaxed, I can never get to that point the second competition introduces itself into my life. I feel like I want to go out there and I want to win. And that's just the way I am. I think it's part of the way I was raised. I don't think it's a good thing. I definitely don't.
You don't? Why not?
I think sometimes it's good to have that competitive nature. I mean, that's the whole reason we've gotten to the point where we're at, is because we want to survive. We want to beat our enemies. We want to get more food, or we want to protect our women, or whatever evolutionary standpoint it may be. Men too, protect our men.
Well, first off, like, if you have a competitive nature, right? Like, doing jiu-jitsu or something like that, where you and going to competitions, that's a good thing because it's a good healthy outlet for it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Instead of getting pent up and frustrated with other different kind of things and trying to find something to do it. I mean, this is definitely something that has a lot of good, you know, I mean, it's going to improve your health. It's going to improve your ability to protect yourself, protect others. You know, it's a super good outlet for that. I mean, for me, for example, like, I know what it takes to compete. And I think that for the people that are competing, it's important that you are 100% in your training months beforehand, because they are too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's like, you don't want to waste someone's time and just be an easy person to beat, or, you know, like, I mean, like, put in the same amount of effort they are. Like, everybody tries really hard, and that's what makes competition great, right? Mm-hmm. And that's exactly why I'm not into competing. I love training. I love rolling with you guys. I love having a hard randori session and, you know, getting tapped or tapping someone out, whatever, all that good stuff. But the amount of effort it takes to do that and do it well, and to get to the level where you're at, where you're winning consistently, you know, that takes effort that, just to be bluntly honest, I'm not that competitive. I'm not that into it. I don't really care.
And I respect that. That's perfectly fine. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, is how long do I want to compete? Obviously, I'm just in the white belt division right now, so it's not like winning this medal is anything super huge. It's not like winning worlds as a black belt or anything along that nature. But I do still feel very stressed for the 2 months leading up to it. And I don't think it's necessarily because of the competitive nature of it. I think it's because I'm introduced with a deadline. I think in the world that we live in, some people don't really set a lot of people don't really set high expectations or high goals for themselves on a quarterly, annual basis. So every 3 months there's a new jiu-jitsu tournament, and I know 2 months ahead of time that this tournament is 2 months away. And every day I know it's getting a little bit closer. And then I'm also dieting during that time. I was on the ketogenic diet for this one for the 2 months prior. So I was pretty much just eating meat and cheese and fat, no carbs.
And just trading real hard.
My nickname's Noodles because I love ramen. I want ramen.
I thought it was because of how you grappled, honestly. No, I think it's because of how you grapple. It's like trying to fight a goddamn noodle.
No, let's actually go over that, because we got Manuel here. We went to Domo, which is a wonderful Japanese restaurant in Denver. And do you remember we went with Coach Jason? And you don't remember that?
Oh yeah, was it with
Joey was there too
for Sam's last night.
Yeah, that's what it was. Sam's last night in Colorado.
Yeah.
And how did it happen? Oh, you ordered extra noodles.
Yes.
And because the waitress there knew you, she was like, okay, I can kind of sneak some extra noodles in there.
Well, she knows you. She knows you way more than me.
Yeah. But I was like,
the noodle connection? You guys got some noodle hookups? Not telling people?
They always say no, man. They're like, can I have extra? No.
Exactly.
No.
That's what I said to Jason. I was like, how did Manuel get extra noodles? I never get extra noodles. And he's like, dude, you just have to ask. So I asked this very Japanese guy.
That was your first mistake.
He was very Japanese. I asked him if I could get extra noodles, and he goes, no, it's not available. And he walks away. And ever since, Coach called me Noodles. Oh, okay. So that's kind of how
funny.
that
I honestly thought it was because of how you grapple.
Because Joey's nickname is actually Noodles too.
Is it?
So they had
really?
I don't remember if they called me Little Noodles or if they called him Big Noodles or whatever it was. But yeah, so It's a cute nickname. I like it. I don't.
Oh, it's a good nickname.
Oh, hell yeah. And
you never pick your nicknames anyways. They just kind of happen.
Oh, you can't. I imagine you have a lot of experience with that being in the
I've had a few.
military. Oh yeah. What was your
mostly my last name being Peterson, I used to get Petey a lot.
That's a good one.
And then the Great White Ninja, because I mean when my unit, like I was the guy that would teach a lot of the classes or coach or help out with stuff a lot, and so of course being a big white dude, anything that stands out about you is going to be a joke now in the military. It's just kind of how it is. It's good natured, but it's just how it is, right? And you get used to it. And it's actually funny, but so yeah, I mean, Great White Ninja, Shrek, Russ Quando,
nice.
I used to get a bunch of them. I don't know. It was mostly PD though.
Yeah.
Pretty much one you got called all the time.
Yeah. So if you're a white belt coming into a gym and you end up being pretty good and likable and everyone likes you and no one has too many complaints about you except for maybe one complaint, your nickname might be based around that one complaint or that one special little thing about you.
It could be anything though. It could be something you said once in passing. It could be like at our gym, they call me Crushel because I'm so heavy. And I can apply weight pretty well. So like, I mean, you're going to get,
you can.
Well, I'm saying you're going to get, you're going to get, it's hard to say how it's going to happen. It just kind of happens on its own.
I think I'm just putting a warning out there for all those people because I kind of wanted to make this podcast the white belt podcast because although you and I are green belts, a lot of schools don't yet recognize what the green belt is. But so I'm just for simplicity's sake.
I once had a teacher that said I'm always a white belt, and I try to think that way. You know what I mean? Accomplishments and pride and all that kind of stuff. It's all good, but it has its place, And I think that in jiu-jitsu especially, I think that the less you're thinking about that and the more you're just focusing on learning, the better you're going to do. And I think speaking to like new white belts coming in, I would definitely say, don't worry about this kind of stuff. Just go in there with a good attitude. You know what I mean? And just want to learn.
Just go in there.
And just go in there. And you'll find jiu-jitsu people 9 times out of 10, so cool.
Go in there with people a bad attitude. Chill. I want them to go in there with a bad attitude.
No.
Right? Yeah, dude.
We'll just get wrecked.
Crushed.
Yeah, they'll learn their lesson right away.
Do that. Yeah.
I've seen that. I've definitely seen that.
Oh, yeah.
Overconfident, cocky guys that think they're tougher than they are.
And they get choked.
Yep. I've seen that.
I really do think it's difficult for a lot of people to get out there and find a physical activity that they one, enjoy, but 2, they actually build up the confidence enough to go to that very first practice or meeting or whatever it may be. And I think it's very important for people to have at least one physical activity.
I agree. That reminds me of someone from our gym. I don't know if I should say her name, but just one. There's this chick that trains at our gym, and for reference, I'm 6'4" and about 280. And this chick walks in, and I give her the nickname. First day, I give her the nickname Giant Slayer. I don't know if it's stuck or not because I've been training a lot lately. But because straight out the gate, I mean, she's what 5'2", maybe $110, maybe. Like she's small.
Okay,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do now.
Yeah, and she comes in and like, oh, okay, it's time to pair up with somebody in practice, and she goes, I'll train with him. Like use that kind of weight because I'm so big, and plus if you get a lay on him, I kind of want other people to make it their choice. They choose to roll with me so they don't get like I don't feel bad about like mashing them.
Yeah.
And straight out the gate, man, she's like, I want to train with you. And like walks straight across, like she points out at me like from across the whole gym, like through people, and walks straight up to me. I'm like, hey, what's going on? I'm Russ. Nice to meet you. And I was so impressed by that. I was really, really impressed. And it's like that's the thing about it. You just walk in with a good attitude, like you're not going to get hurt.
She's got the confidence of David against Goliath.
Seriously, I was so impressed by that. That's why I started calling her Giant Slayer because I mean that takes guts.
That's a really smart thing to do too, especially for like girls in general that are using it for self-defense, just because the majority of their attackers will be way bigger than them.
Probably,
All the time. Yeah.
On a general scale, of course. And women are often better when it comes to leg strength, so they're whereas men are more upper body, I suppose, on a general scale.
Well, not just that, but also if a guy's going to try to rape a chick, 9 times out of 10, I mean, like you're going to end up in a guard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if they're going to give him a guard, take him to the ground, like you're doing half the hard work for him, take him to the ground. Mm-hmm. So, I think jiu-jitsu is for everybody. Mm-hmm. I really do. But I think especially for women for self-defense, it's very effective.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think so anyways.
It'll get you out of that situation so you can run.
Right.
Yeah.
You choke somebody out, they're out for a little bit, or you snap an elbow, they're going to be paying attention to that and give you enough time to create space.
Now, coach says in a real self-defense situation, don't snap an elbow, because apparently there's a lot of cases out there where people snap elbows and the person's adrenaline is pumping up so high that they don't even realize that their elbow is busted.
Possible. Yeah, possible.
Yeah.
And they keep coming with swings. So he says it's best to choke them. And what's a safer position? Speaking, when you mentioned the guard, I thought we should mention to our listeners what the guard actually means for those who probably don't know anything about jiu-jitsu. But what is, and you guys will know this answer, what is the most effective position that you could possibly think of that you would want to be in if you were in some sort of situation where an attacker was trying to...
rear mount, I mean.
Or on top. Or
rear mount, but which is pretty much the back.
Yeah, don't take their back. Whatever you want to call it.
I would, it's you want to be behind them. They can't
that's
see
ideal,
you. They can't see you. Their arms are in front of them, so they can't really do anything behind them that's going to really hurt you. Besides maybe like eye gouge or pull hair.
Well, you got to look for maybe them getting a weapon out because their hands are freed in front of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something you guys got to keep an eye out for. But you apply a choke quick and lock it down, you're not going to have much time. And a lot of times, like I have a lot of experience with bouncing in bars and stuff like that. And I've had to choke people out before. And I find that it's very rare that somebody will do anything else. They're always just trying to get your arm loose and they just go out.
True. Oh, my favorite Russ story is, oh my God. It was in Standard. And I was just there with Kedron and a bunch of other people. It was like a hip hop night. And I'm just standing there at the bar, and 2 fights break out right next to me. I love it. This is the coolest thing. Like great.
I hate fights.
Smile,
I hate it.
Ear to ear. I'm like, this guy's fighting this guy over here. This guy's fighting this guy over here. Russ just out of nowhere gets him, from the back. His other dude gets the other dude from the back. They create space, separate everyone immediately, close the door, gone. And I'm just like, oh wow, well, that was pretty goddamn sweet. Yeah.
Sweet for you.
Oh, dude, I was so happy.
Bet Russ's heart was pumping pretty.
Oh yeah, he was probably like.
Or are you used to that, Russ?
I don't know if you ever really get used to it. I mean, your adrenaline is always going to go up, but it's like a question of remembering to try to stay calm and breathe and deal with your adrenaline being up, and you can get, I guess, used to that in a sense. And the more you're kind of thinking, at least in my experience, thinking kind of cognitively and you're thinking deliberately, it kind of helps with not getting so amped up and kind of tunnel visiony, if that makes any sense. In that case, honestly, I was happening to be moving through the crowd, and when I saw them start to fight, I just the classic seatbelt grab. People that are watching this they have Google open. I'm sure they can just look up guard or seatbelt grab or any of the terminology type things we're using. But I just pulled him down and back. Because it's one of those things where I got to be prepared. When you break up fights, people will sometimes want to turn on you. They're angry. Their adrenaline's up. This guy hit in the face. They don't know who you are sometimes. But in that case, when they're swinging, I'm not going to go stand in the middle of them either. I'm not going to just stand there and get hit, because that happens too. It's just one of those things where it just pulled him back, and luckily that guy. As I remember, I don't know, I've been in a lot of altercations in bars because I worked in bars for a long time, but I think that guy chilled out pretty quick. I think it's usually always worse outside anyways. Yeah.
The whole situation was put to sleep really, really quick. It was, it was impressive. I was literally just standing there, and I watched the entire thing happen, and within, 10 seconds, crowd was split, door was closed, these guys were taken across from each other.
Well, and that was a lucky thing for us too. Yeah. Where it happened to kick off, there was a closable door into the entrance. So it's put them out, close the one, pull this guy back. Hey, chill out, man. That kind of thing. And, if they want to keep going, if they want to try to swing on you, then, you can just wrap it up. Because that's the thing about grappling that's really great, in my experience, is that if you are at least mediocre at grappling, if you do 6 months of hard training, just enough to get the broad strokes, you know what I mean? Really started training it. And you go, I was telling you about this one time, and you noticed one time when you rolled with a new guy and you hadn't rolled anyone new yet.
It was ridiculous.
If someone doesn't know what they're doing and you do, it's hugely advantageous. It seems like they're fucking with you or something, right? No, are you kidding me?
I was completely surprised when that happened. I was just like, what is going on?
It's too easy.
This is wrong.
Right.
This is incorrect. No.
You kind of want to tell them what to do. That's my problem. Is I like talking.
No, I'm just no.
Well, that's a one for me too. In class, I always try to make a mental note because if something comes up, I could just answer the question. And Jason being so cool, he's like, hey, Russ has background in like a different type of jiu-jitsu and more like military style stuff, but like you can definitely listen to him, which I took as such a huge compliment. But I try to like, hey, let's just ask coach, or let's hang on for now, because I want to make sure that you're getting the right information, because jiu-jitsu is kind of a living thing.
It's still very much evolving.
It's always evolving, you know what I mean? And that's the cool thing about it. I mean, that was the thing about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the first place, is that it was developed for street fighting from classic, Jiu-Jitsu and from Japan. And so it has an evolutionary kind of thing just ingrained in it already. And so a lot of my stuff, like I said, having taken that break and stuff like that, my stuff's kind of older, my stuff's kind of different. And that's why when I started with you guys, I started day one white belt. Let's just start over from scratch.
Well, that's very important, not just for jiu-jitsu, but I think for life too, is to realize that we're all white belts in not just a martial art or physical activity or work or whatever it may be. We're white belts at life. No one knows for a fact what happens after you get choked out and to death. Like no one knows what happens in the afterlife. No one really knows. Right. So we're all white belts, and that's very, very important to know. So if you do really want to start going to a martial arts school, whatever it may be, it could be anything. I recommend jiu-jitsu because I have a wrestling background, so grappling is kind of my thing. And we already mentioned that being close to guys, I'm already comfortable with it. So, well,
it's lower impact too. I mean, a lot of the striking martial arts, you're gonna get banged up more.
It depends too who you go against as well, like a hothead or whatnot. Because I mean, like, just look at my past year of like shoulder injury after shoulder injury after shoulder injury. It's like
and a lot of that was just such bad luck.
It was, bad luck,
just
and then
fell over on it weird.
Oh my god, that was the last one.
I remember you just fell over on it weird.
Done. It was done. I was impinged.
It didn't even look anything bad. It just it happened to be just the right. No. That's a weird thing. Sometimes that stuff can happen.
Yeah. See, we're still white belts in shoulders. We can't even figure the fucking shoulder out yet, and everyone has two of them. Well, okay, almost everyone.
But yeah, like you're talking about. I mean, that whole approach of I'm here to learn. You know what I mean? And it's good to accomplish things. It really is. And it's also good to reflect on your accomplishments and kind of, I think, like apply that. You know what I mean? I think that's a good thing to do too. But overall, I say just the focus on learning is just a good thing in general to do, in my opinion.
Focus on learning anything, whatever it may be.
Just learn something new every day. Every day's a school day.
Like I said, I think it's important for everyone to have at least one physical activity, because it's really sad that in this day and age, the one thing that people sacrifice when wanting to become, air quotes, successful, the first thing that they always sacrifice is their health. And in this capitalistic society, for sure. And I think it's important to get out there and not put your health aside, not make that the secondary part of life, because that is your life. Your health is your life. And I think it's just really important for people to get out there and try something new physically. It's going to be very, very, very tough at first if you haven't done it in a long time, but it's going to pay off in a short amount of time. You'll start to realize that you can breathe better after you've walked up the stairs, or
start losing weight. Like I took a little break from training. I'm going back in September. So that's one thing for me, because I struggle with weight working in a computer job now. That's one thing I noticed when I'm starting to train regularly. I start watching what I'm eating, because I don't want to just waste the time, And next thing you know, pounds start dropping off.
Hell yeah. Ro, actually, one of our buddies at Jiu-Jitsu.
I love Ro, dude. He's so badass.
He's so badass.
I should have said his name, though, because we don't know if people want us to say it on the podcast.
Shoot. I'll ask him if I can.
Might have to edit this out.
I'll just bleep it if I can't. But
okay.
Anyway, he ended up losing 50 pounds.
I'm not surprised. That dude trains hard.
Yeah.
He trains all the time.
And he's very technical.
And he even goes to like the gym after and stuff like that. That guy's super dedicated.
He's very prepared. He has this sheet that he fills out of every move that he does, and who taught it, the date that he learned it, the class, if it was gi, no gi. It's just a checklist basically. Cool. And then he goes through, and it's so wonderfully constructed. It's almost what I'm trying to do with this podcast and getting it organized and everything, to where you just go in and you do step 1, step 2, step 3.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that, and that's what I'm trying to get with everything that I'm a part of. Anyway, we're wrapping up here. We've got about 10 seconds left.
I fucking talked too much and Manuel didn't talk enough.
No, we'll have to do another one. But
I'm done.
Anyway, any last words real quick?
No.
Go do jiu-jitsu. If you haven't gone, go check it out.
choke for broke. I don't know.
What does it mean? What does it even mean? No, seriously, everybody should do jiu-jitsu. It's for everybody.